Right.
How are you? Good morning.
I'm good, thank you.
Is
And
it good night? Is it good morning? Is it
yeah,
evening? It's good evening for you. Wait, it's good evening for you.
it's 8:30.
Yes,
Here in
yes.
Melbourne. So
Very good evening.
I'm super excited to be talking to you, and
Likewise.
I have a lot of things to touch on. But first things first, thank you so much for being part of this tribute journey for ARR, sir. And
Pleasure is mine. Thank you for having me.
uh, this is going back 4 or 5 weeks ago. I think early June is when obviously you met him at IFA, and I saw your Instagram post, and the very next minute I decided that I'm going to get you on the podcast no matter what.
Oh,
And
yeah.
interestingly enough, I met Sir the week after you met him at IFA. So he had invited me for his daughter's wedding. And so I was
Yes.
there in Chennai, and I actually told him that, you know what, sir, I've invited Mamta for the podcast. And he just smiled and he said, yeah, good.
Yes. Yeah. He's a man of few words.
Yes, yes, yes. And I was just curious. So obviously, I saw the clip that you had shared on Instagram, and thank you so much for doing it because that's what really got me into inviting you for this podcast. And I was just curious to know what exactly was he telling you. He was obviously smiling, and he was saying something, and I know you said wow for something, but I'm just curious.
I know, right? Well, actually, he was no, he was actually telling me about how difficult it was for him to make it to the IFA because there was
Oh,
a
really?
change in the date.
Right.
There was a change in the date, so he had to fly in from somewhere. All of a sudden, it was because it was a last minute thing for a lot of us to change our schedules around.
Yeah.
I think the UAE president passing and
Right.
IFA's dates getting changed. But
Right.
prior to him actually responding with a wow, I was pretty. I had to reintroduce. Obviously, you're in a commotion, so when you tell him, sir, I'm Mamta, like he was like, oh yes, how are you? I said, so I'm good. Every time, um, see, he is someone that I hold in a very different. I don't consider him to be someone. I don't call him a music director. I don't call him. He's something else for me. Okay, because
Yeah.
I was born and raised overseas, and my connection with Indian music probably began with the music of A.R. Rahman. My
Wow.
connection to India, my culture, a lot of things began with Sir's music. Okay, and I did not just discover his I did not discover his music just like that. I did have a very strong incident that happened, and that's how I stumbled upon Sir's music. Sir's music was actually brought to me through somebody else
Mm.
because I grew up in the Middle East listening to a lot of it was just radio at the time, and it was
Right.
Western radio. So I was probably the Boyzone, Backstreet Boys, Spice Girls, and even before that, like Britney Spears, and that was what I
Yeah.
was exposed to. And to name a few of the classics, obviously there was Elton John and Tina Arena, Shania Twain, and
Correct.
here's a girl who's probably listened to a little bit of Malayalam music because I'm a Malayali by birth, and my native I'm a native of Kerala, and my parents would always buy small audio cassettes,
Yeah.
and it used to be Malayalam music mostly, but not very much Tamil. Um, so
Right.
long story short, I'll come back to IFA. At
Yeah.
IFA, I was just so happy that he remembered me because not so long ago, I had met him at a Russian daughter's wedding, his Rahman's daughter's wedding,
Correct.
Rushda's wedding.
Yeah.
So that was when Rahman had introduced me to Rahman sir.
Right.
Uh, and I always told him that I've attempted multiple times to come and meet you in LA because
Right.
for the last 8 years I was stationed in LA, and I do have a very good friend of mine who's a sound designer partly in India as well as Hollywood, and
Right.
they work very closely and they used to jam. And my friends there always told me that when Sir's in LA, he's a very different person. He's very chilled out in his own home, and you should come and you should jam with us. And it so happened that I could never, make it to his place, but I have watched his concert in LA, the last one that he had,
Yeah.
He had a Sufi concert, and then he's doing another show on the 24th of this month in LA,
You're
if I'm not
absolutely
wrong.
right.
So,
And I'm
which I
heading there.
really wanted to make too. Are you going for it?
I'm going. In fact, just this morning, I told him that, sir, I'll see you in LA.
Oh, that's awesome! I wish I could have made it to it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, going back to my childhood, it was um, I had my first crush at the age of 13 or 14 with a Tam Bram boy, and he was a musician himself, and he introduced me to the song, and he was talking to me about it was very difficult to listen to him talk about his ex-girlfriend, and his memories were in Coimbatore,
Oh my
when
God.
his when he was in university, um, his girlfriend's favorite songs were from Roja,
Right.
and it was him who introduced me to Rahman sir's music, and from there I never turned back.
Wow. Wow.
One after the other, every single album of his has had a significant impact on every emotion of mine, every heartbreak, every joy, the process of healing, everything. So
Wow.
I come from I can't say I come from a family of singers, but my dad's family, they all sing very
Mhm.
well. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And then obviously I'm going to deep dive into a number of things that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
And but before I do that, of course, you've been trained in Carnatic and Hindustani too, right? Yeah,
Yes.
amazing. So, do you have any favorite ragas at all?
Um, I used to be a huge fan of, mm, for the longest time, I used to only sing songs of in Amrita Varshini.
Right.
We had a show which was very specially designed around, we curated a playlist of songs which had only Amrita Varshini Raga. And
Mm.
this was during my school leaving year.
Right.
And it was a tribute to my guru as well,
Right.
Sudhakar Devle. And I learned Hindustani for about 6 years under his tutelage.
Wow. So good.
Yeah. And
And
I've always felt that my voice suited Hindustani more than Carnatic
really?
music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Carnatic had a very south texture, the south, it's a
Correct.
very South Indian sort of rendition, but rendition style or handling style,
Mm.
vocal handling style. But
Yeah.
Hindustani had it had more weight to it, and it kind of suited my bass
Right.
texture and voice, and I felt
Yeah.
I sounded nicer when I sang in Hindustani.
Nice. And
Yeah.
how much of it actually helped you with your playback singing, with the training that you had? I'm sure it must have, right?
I don't know if it's, I'm not being rude, but I think I used to be a better singer before I started playback singing.
Right.
I think
Okay.
coming into the commercial side of music has somehow also separated me from, um, there used to be like this musician inside me that
Yeah.
it was all about music. So I'm an only child and I grew up in the Middle East. So what happens with that is you have a very lonely world.
Mm.
So I grew up in a very spiritual family. That means there's no noise in the house. So the only thing that kept us all together is our Thursday bhajans and
Wow.
some of the songs that we all would jam up, like meet up for karaoke weekends. And so that was my little world back then. And we're not talking about Middle East like Dubai. I'm talking about Bahrain.
Yeah.
And nobody knew about Bahrain back then in the world. It was it still is a very small place until F1 happened, I would say. So there used to be another side to me, which was a
Mm.
complete musician. It was not distracted by any other forms of art. I wasn't very fashion forward. I was very camera shy, had weight problems. I had weight issues. So I had, a body image issue, right? So
Right.
coming on stage was very difficult. And it was music that helped me come out of that. So music was, I was devoted to it at another level. It changed
Mm.
a lot when I started playback singing, and I discovered the commercial sides of it. And I also sang songs which have gone ahead to become super hits, but
Yeah.
they're not necessarily my type of music.
Right.
So that's where it begins to get a bit discouraging, because I'm sent tracks to sing. And if I do not like the songs, then there used to be a time when I used to be okay with it, and I sang them. They have become super hits, but there were so many songs which I just did not like to sing, but I sang anyway. Um, and I would be like, this is not at all my kind of music, because you got to be proud about making others listen to the songs that you have sung.
Agreed.
Right? So if I have recorded about 12 to 15 songs, out of which, I probably might pick 3 or 4.
Wow.
And that is really bad. That's like less than 50%, love rate there. That is not good.
So what's your kind of song?
Um, I love melody. I mean,
Right.
I'm not saying there's no melody in fast numbers or item songs, but I like something that has melody, that has good music, good. It sounds good to the ear, and it touches my emotions, and my voice sounds good in it, and I love singing it over and over again. It needn't be a simple song. It can even be something very, very heavily arranged, but there's something in it. There's magic in that music, and I listen to music in every language. I don't separate. I don't have a certain type of music that I listen to. I appreciate music in all language, in all types, in all genres, but it has to sound good. It can't be noise.
Right.
And there are a lot of songs which are noise these days, meaningless lyrics. And I think it has a lot to do with what takes me away from it is the commercialism behind it.
Right.
But both needs to coexist. I understand the other side, but there's this artist in me that wants to have it old fashioned and love it that way.
Right. So I take it whenever a new song comes out, you start to dissect in your mind or sort of play a critique. Okay, this has
Yeah,
probably been, auto-tune and things like that. I'm just making it up, but yeah.
of course, yes.
Right. Right. And of course, I did ask you what's your kind of song, but is there a song that probably you feel you could have owned it, like one of AR sir's songs
And
that
could I have?
you felt you'd belong to you rather? That kind of song?
It belonged to me. Well, I can't take it away from someone else, right? I've had so many songs of his which I would have loved to be the one singing it, and but I love the song because it has been sung well, correct?
Yeah.
But I will, I'll have my own moment with that song when I had opportunity to get on stage, and I grew up singing karaoke, and then when I got used to being on stage, I started singing for orchestra in Bahrain.
Wow.
But these were the last, 3 or 4 years of my life in Bahrain,
Right.
because I was just finishing school there, and this is when academics gets very, very difficult, and at the same time, songs or music used to be my relief.
Right.
So I slowly started getting comfortable with singing a lot of, Sir's songs only. I mean, if I performed any song on stage when I was growing up, they're all A.R.Rahman Sir's songs.
Wow.
Yeah,
Like which
all
ones?
of them. Tamil, easily, Vasigara, Snehidane.
Oh, wow.
So many.
Yeah.
And the database of music is just so much. Tal,
Yeah, of
Dil
course.
Se, just too many songs. Too many.
Yeah.
Pukar.
Pukar, yeah, of course. I was here playing this Pukar soundtrack like this morning.
Like it takes me back in time, and Rangila.
Yeah,
Oh
of
my God.
course.
Yeah, I
Wow.
mean, I can sing every single song to you. Like that's how. So what has happened? If you ask me about how commercialism has spoiled it for me is, for some reason, new songs are just not appealing to me anymore. So I'm still stuck in time with that kind of music, that kind of quality in sounds. everything sounded so good. Of course, technologically we've made advancements in making things sound good. But what happened to our music? There's something severely wrong, you know. Uh, but you could probably ask the teenagers of today, and they still have their super hits, right?
I agree because, as I
Yeah.
said, I traveled to India for Sir's daughter's wedding reception, and then I got to visit my nephews on the way back in Bangalore,
Hmm.
and they're like 18 and 19 years old, and then their kind of music is totally different from what I would have preferred, and then they
Yeah.
absolutely love it, and they were like, "You should try this. This is the best thing ever," and they put the headphones on me. I'm
This is the
like, "No,
best
this
thing
is way
ever.
too noisy. Just take it off."
See, noisy.
Yeah.
There's some clutter in the arrangements these days, and I just don't know. It's just not appealing as much to me. But there are still isolated incidents where you'll pick one good song. There'll be something that
Correct.
sounds nice, or you can move to.
Agree.
But it's become one in a million now.
Yeah, I'm
So
inclined to
much content being pushed out. Yeah,
agree. Agree. And
yeah.
and of course, I mean, there's slightly moving away from the music aspect. I definitely
Mhm.
wanted to touch on the fitness side of your life because I find it absolutely inspirational. And then one of the reasons being, I myself had a transformation journey. I used to be like a 106 kilo guy and decided to take up fitness, and I lost like 46 kilos, and I went underweight and had to add another 10 to actually look better and things like that. And
To
took up
balance it
took
out.
up running, marathons, and bike ridings and
Wow.
tennis and whatnot. So my life totally changed. I used to be a super introverted guy, and then before my transformation, that is, and then turned opposite, and I sort of reinvented myself, something that I had never imagined. Now, what I did want to hear from you was like, what was your fitness journey like, and also how much of couple of things in this, to be honest, is has music played a part in your fitness life? And I'm sure you would say yes. And then also, how much of fitness does have an impact in your mental well-being as well? That's an area that I'm even more keen to hear from you. I know physically, of course, you look great, and you're absolutely disciplined. The reason why I say that is because obviously I was looking at your Instagram post, and then you had traveled and you came back and you straight away hit the gym and you were smashing it there. And that's very inspiring. I mean, that's the kind of dedication I wish sometimes I had, because as much as I'm determined, I am laid back at times, and I try very hard to push myself to take that one step outside my home to go for a run. I struggle sometimes as much as I'm determined, but I want to get inspired, hence why I'm asking you this.
I mean, the truth is, so do I. I struggle too. And, I have, to begin with, I mean, your story is such an inspiration.
Thank you.
How many people actually get to do that and eventually, feel very balanced, and you come out looking even better and feeling even better,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
having rediscovered yourself, a newer version of yourself. How many people get to do that, and come out fine? So, kudos to you that
Thank you.
there was a calling. Not everybody gets that calling. There are a lot of people
Correct.
who struggle with it, right? So
True.
I feel that is great because I don't know what happened to me so I told you that I had weight issues, right?
Hmm.
And it's just because I was not because anyone in my family is overweight. It so happened that born in the Middle East, and I think being an only child, you tend to spend a lot of time with food. Right? So and there's no one to take your food away.
Yeah.
Whatever is made is all mine. So there's no portion control. So I think I just got used to eating a lot. And I don't know if you were raised overseas, but you have so much access to fast food.
Correct.
So obviously I began to get so much weight, and I wasn't into sports. Um,
Mm.
and I just had like a sudden awakening at the age of 13 when I changed schools. I
Right.
moved from a smaller school, and we had a situation where I had to I basically was jealous of one of my cousin sisters who was going to school in Udi. And back then, Bollywood movies would sell you the idea of, hostels, girls' hostel, and everything in there being pink, and, all the girls looking beautiful, having a great time playing with balloons and teddies and having breakfast together. So I was sold on that idea and always thought that, oh, so my cousin who's in Ooty probably has that sort of a life. So I'm going to ask her if I can go and, try out boarding school for some time. And I actually went to Ooty from Bahrain for about 3 months.
Right.
And tried out boarding school. And this was the first big change that I had in my life, because I did not realize they were not showing certain things on TV. And that was waking up at 5 a.m. for a huge drill and run in the morning. And I was the fattest girl in class. And
Wow.
suddenly became conscious of my own, how I looked and how I felt and how poor my fitness was. And I think that would have kickstarted or it triggered some sort of an emotion in me where I was brought back to Bahrain because I just could not take boarding school at all. And I came back to Bahrain and I went to a bigger school. So that change and being in a bigger crowd is what I think there were a lot of times where I felt intimidated. I felt like it was hard to make friends and it was hard to get acceptance. Because if you don't have siblings at home, the next place you look for friends and connection is your school.
Correct.
So I needed that so badly. And I think I gave it my all and went through some sort of, awakening in I had an epiphany with, having to lose weight. And it began at the age of 13 or 14, I started working out. And at the age of 14, I remember my dad asked me, what do you want this birthday? And I said, I want, one of those exercising cycles, like a workout cycle.
Yeah.
And I can't call it a spinning machine because that's not what it was called back in the day, but it was something different.
Yeah.
It was similar to an elliptical or a cross trainer. And that's what I got. And which 14-year-old kid is going to ask for a cross trainer? But I did. So, and I even decided to stop eating bad food completely. Right. And these were also the years that I was beginning to, I think there's like normal teenage hormonal changes. And, I had my first crush at the age of 13 or 14. And with an older guy who was like this musician. So in my head, I've already designed my, the man of my dreams. And he's like this Bhagavatar, we would call him. So yes, from that moment onwards, I think definitely songs from, I used to work out. I remember I had a Dil Se fever period. And it was so intense because Chaya Chaya used to be a perfect song to work out to.
Agree. It still is.
And I used to dance. Yeah, it still is. And I used to dance like crazy. I used to burn it out. In fact, I used to work out after my parents went to bed. They say that musicians work after the whole world goes to sleep, right? I have this thing, when you work on music, the world needs to sleep for them. And that's when they rise. It was something like that. I would wait for my parents to go to bed. The house is quiet and back in those days, you had Walkman. Right. So I had a tiny Walkman that came free with a tin of powder milk. Because my dad's not going to buy a Walkman, right? And then on my 15th year after that, he saw how crazy I was about this free Nido powders Walkman. And he gets me a Sony Walkman for the next birthday. Wow. And it had like an over-ear, headphone and all that. So music has had such a significant impact on my life. And through every moment of it, I've had, through every year, I've had some song that is stuck, that stood out for me. I even remember Kandu Kondain being one of my favorite albums.
Beautiful.
And then came my, the years into getting trained in Carnatic and Hindustani. Right. And obviously I had my favorites then also. So, it was, I still love to stay fit. And the advantage of having started a fitness routine and getting so feverish about it from a very young age actually helped me at a later phase in my life. And that was when I was diagnosed with cancer in 2009.
Yeah.
And it's not easy for one to like immediately, especially when you're in the entertainment industry. You need to try and bounce back as soon as possible post chemo, because you almost look like a tornado hit you, after 6 months of chemo and radiation. So the only way I could have bounced back is by getting back to my fitness routines. It was good because it had been such a habit for me to wake up at 5:30 a.m. every day and go for a run, that the moment I'm not able to do my 30 minutes of steady cardio, I know there's something wrong with my system. So it actually, it actually really helped me that I had formed these habits as a child. And that, to me, till date, is what keeps me emotionally and mentally strong as well. It's almost like a checkpoint. Being able to train at a certain level and push myself at a certain level whenever I train is more like a checkpoint to analyze the overall health of my heart, my lungs, because it's after a couple of relapses that I actually learned to listen to my body, to realize what my center is, if my energy is swaying, and if I'm in a toxic environment, how it impacts my pressure, my mind, my thoughts. So obviously, incorporating a little more off late in the last, I think post-COVID, I have started incorporating a little more yoga, as opposed to going hardcore hit and weight training every single day.
Yeah.
You need to listen to your body. That's what you was talking about, how on some days you feel so demotivated. I think you need to, because you're human. And your body needs a break. It's your body's way of asking you for, hey, Chandar, today I don't feel like, today I want to be lazy. And I think we all earn that. I think it's important to earn both ways. Earn your rest. I tell people, especially when I meet lazy friends, I tell them, earn your vacations. Earn it. And the feeling is so rewarding when you take that day off after working hard. But life is short, right? So make the best of your time, the best of your energy. You don't know how long you're going to have it. And every time, I'm reminded of my journey of survival. Each day is lived in gratitude. And I think it has taken me a few years to mature. I wouldn't say it's even the relapses of my cancer, but I've still had to meditate on a lot of things to understand the true meaning of why these things happened to me and why I'm here today, and how my life needs to be going forward as well. Be awake to every single day, right? Like every single breath of yours matter. So a lot of mundane things tend to just pass by me. They don't really impact me. Because if I allow it to impact me, it's because I'm a chronic empath. After whatever I've gone through, you tend to feel that you need to engage in everybody's pain a lot, but it need not be good for you in the long run. So I'm very mindful of how I engage and how I disengage with situations, people. I need to learn to keep my center as well, as much as I go out to be there for others.
So beautiful, very, very inspiring. I'm so touched with this amazing response. I'm going to go back and watch this again and again, especially this bit. I find it absolutely inspiring. So, also just adding on to that, sorry, were you saying something?
No, I just said thank you. I think you also, sometimes you say that you don't know why this happened to you, but maybe you were just chosen. We don't know why we are chosen for these tough battles, right? We really don't know.
Yeah.
But do I want to know? I always tell people, because there are a lot of people who do like to remain in, because you carry that cloud. It's a huge responsibility when you've been given a second opportunity to live again. You need to do it very carefully. But there was also a point in life I realized that I was only listening to sad songs. I was repeating, the cycle of remaining in sadness. And that's because there's something, in my foundation that had been shaken. After, I think it could be post-cancer and coming back into the real world, right? It could be cinema, it could be relationships, it could be family. And, but there was some fundamental part in me that had been broken by it. So I lived in LA for about 8 years. And again, it was a miracle, it was a miracle that I ended up there for a clinical trial. But that was my rediscovery of myself for the first time, because I had to restart my life with an experimental therapy, which could have either worked or failed for me. But the beauty was that I was fully open to embrace the climax of that story.
Beautiful.
Because in my head, I had told myself, maybe I'm not going to last. Maybe I will. But whatever that is, this is going to be as I'm going to choose this path gracefully. And if because I don't want to look sad if I have to say that one final bye to my family. I don't want to look sad. So I'm going to focus on healing myself for the next few months that I have. It was such a beautiful disengagement with every conditioning that I had, with all the materialistic things in the world, with everything. Forget cinema, forget money, forget a lot of worldly things, even attachments, right? It was a beautiful, when I truly got detached is when I found the best way to get, find my bearings again and rediscover this very strong person who knows even my own mistakes. You learn so much. I ask myself the hardest questions about things which about some of the hypocritical stands that I would have taken in the past. And why did I do that? Mamta, so you did have double standards. And is it okay to have double standards about certain things? Is it okay to have two perceptions of the same, of one matter? So all of these things, it was never my way or the highway anymore. It was more like a very such a spiritual and elevated place to be in. And that was when I truly discovered what being happy is. Like ultimate happiness. And for that happiness, you actually need nothing.
Right.
Nothing. It's all within you. And it is, since then I've experienced that level of happiness, and now I always want to be in that state. And that requires nothing. I tell people I can just be, leave me in the wild, I'm fine. I will survive.
Wow. So good.
Life is good, Chandler. Yes.
Amazing. It is so inspiring. So you had this more like a self-awakening thing as part of these tough battles, is it? Or did you have to tap onto some of the resources? Or I'm just curious on that front.
See, help and support has always been there. It's always there for us to use. I always believe we have resources around us that is it's up to us whether to use it or not. But with that comes extreme dependence as well on everything and everyone that you have. But how are you going to find, like each time you fall, there is someone to lift you up. But how are you going to find your own strength if you don't, if you're not going to look for it on your own? Now, what if nothing is there for you? What if nothing is going for you? How can you still be happy? How can you still lift yourself up? So, as much as everything was there for me, and I can't say that it happened overnight. Nothing happened overnight.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Nothing happened even in a couple of years or 5 years. It has been a long journey for me. I was definitely, I don't think I would have been where I am today if not for cancer back in 2009, because I was just 24. So you can imagine I would have missed a good part of my 20s, as they call the party years, or doing a lot of things for the first time, right? Finding a new job or going from job to job, marketing your own gig or putting yourself out there in the world, and I did not have the opportunity to do that. And it's now that I'm beginning to get that chance, for the first time, to look like me to begin with. Because appearance formed such a because I would, there would be great opportunities for me, be it recording um, or even acting in films, but I had to decline them. And I have to gracefully decline them. I have to accept it and tell myself to not go in for my next chemo thinking that, oh shit, I had to turn down the other film, because it affects you. You want to do it because someone else is going to do it, something that you've always wanted to do. Because I was late to realize that I love doing cinema. Because I'm an accidental find. I came into cinema without wanting to be in it, but by the time I fell in love with it, by the time I put my mind to it, that I'm going to do this as a career, it had taken about 4 years, and by then I was in the hospital. So it was since 2009 to what, when it's 22 now. So it's a long journey for me, being in and out of relapses and managing the disease, as I would call it, because I have a refractory lymphoma. So it can bother you like every 2-3 years. So you need to learn to gracefully accept it and learn how to manage it. And even if it comes back, not get shocked by it, and you just believe that the next thing for you is out there. And I always tell people who fight the disease that the key is to stay alive, the key is to survive and be happy and accept your journey, the way it is. Because the sooner you accept it, the sooner you accept it, the easier your fight becomes. It's much easier that way. And I also tell people, do not allow anybody to give you their sympathy, because that's not going to help you at any phase. You don't need anybody's sympathy, because that's a very dangerous thing, and you have a lot of that in India. And because I still hear people saying that, oh, you're sick, you get the sorry eyes, and that's not gonna. I tell people that. And just last week I was telling a friend who's a producer, and I was telling him that, he was like, why weren't you in films? You left Telugu, you've not been seen. And I said people's sympathy is not going to get me a job, So such is life, and
Wow, unreal. And then also as part of that journey, you built your own support network, I take it, or support system, if that's the right word.
Manage your energy. I think it's
Yeah.
important to manage my energy when I'm going through so many changes and shifts. My body is going through one thing, my mind wants to be in another place, but I can't be everywhere and have it all. There are times when I need to be at a certain place, but I might have an infusion or a treatment today. My family helps me manage it after I shifted to India. I shifted back to India this January. So until January, I was in LA. And I had a beautiful network over there. And you don't have the time and energy for too much. You need a lot of energy for yourself, because this is an industry that demands a lot from you, not just your your face or your presence physically, but it takes a lot more energy out of you. Everything requires energy. People require energy. Colleagues, the camera, my parents, my puppy, traveling, right? Meetings and discussions about a possible work that might happen or not happen. So there's a lot of wasted energy too, right? But so you need to, for someone like me, I'm very mindful of where I expend my energy. So that means in the last few years, I've also mindfully gotten better with how I manage my sleep cycles and my fitness cycles. It's important to stay balanced, even though, they say that in nature tries to create imbalance. Our nature actually tries to create chaos. Our job is to stay balanced in that chaos.
Wow.
And for that, we need to we need to meditate. We need to keep our center, because if not, that's not there, you can't function. It's very, very difficult.
Beautiful. Oh man,
Yeah.
it's very very thought provoking too. I mean, I've been trying very hard to get into meditation. In fact, I spoke about that with Sir as well last month when I met him, and he did tell me to keep trying and then stay focused, then meditate more. And the reason being, I mean, I had to deal with a tough phase in my own life too. So I lost my mom just before COVID, and it was way too hard
Sorry
for
to
me to
hear that.
handle. I'll put the long story short. So I found it so tough that I reached a point where I wanted to commit suicide, and it got to that point. So,
Mm.
and it was Sir who came in and pulled me out of it, and he supported me through the entire phase of that, and he just ensured that I never thought about that again.
Again.
and
Yeah.
and he played a very very key role. And I, of course, I discussed about that with Sir in his own podcast as well, when he had
Mm.
come on the podcast. And then yeah, so it has been very tough, and if not for Sir and his music and the person he is, I probably would not have been here. But life changed for me. So Sir being Sir did that. He
Yeah.
obviously did not have to do what he did, because there are millions and millions of other people who stand at the same thing. And
That's,
but
I mean, that's the reason I also told you that he is not just a music composer or music director
yeah,
for me. From what I've heard of him and the way, the energy, it's just the vibration that I get when I stand next to him.
yeah,
Because I mean, there was a very specific reason why I also chose that song when I think put that reel.
I was actually going to ask you. Yes.
Yeah, because that is what I feel. I feel that I'm too little, I'm too insignificant and
Yeah,
unimportant to stand next to him. In his presence, it's just so like my eyes fill up, and I get very. I think it's a person's vibration.
hmm.
I feel his purity. I feel his passion. I feel it's a pleasant surface. He's like the ocean. It's he's so pleasant and calm on the outside, but inside there's these strong currents of vibration which I feel so strong when I stand next to him.
Yeah,
And I think that's what I think I picked that part where kyun goonj rahi hai dhadkan,
correct.
and also the way that song is, because
Yeah,
it comes in waves, right? the
yeah,
the the strumming of that instrument actually comes in waves. um
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
It's amazing. I
it's
mean,
it's a very emotional story that you just mentioned before, that losing a parent. It's
yeah,
being an only child. I That's my greatest fear, if you ask me. That I don't know
hmm,
how I'm going to face that day. I have
yeah,
had moments where I would say just probably as less as I wanted to be. I probably would have had. Um, I would have woken up from a bad thought or a moment,
hmm,
for no reason, for no apparent reason. I'm not going through any bad phase in my life, or maybe one of those incidents would have been when I was alone in LA and I
yeah,
just moved from one apartment to the other and sitting in silence, and I might have woken up with that. I don't know how I'm going to face that uh, day, because when I came back, I had only, if I had to come back, there was only one reason, and
yeah,
it is to be there for my dad and mom.
yeah,
They're my everything. As I am their everything.
yeah.
Responsibility, like I said, it's huge.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has been very tough for me. I mean,
I don't know how
also,
you.
of course, I've got siblings who are in India, of course, but the thing is, I was emotionally connected with my mom more than anyone
Mom.
else, and
Yeah.
she used to be the one, because I've been living here in Australia for about 22 years now. I came here to study, and been working here since after my studies and things like that. But she was the only one, no matter what, every single day she would send me a message early in the morning, say, "Hey Chandu, have you had your breakfast? It's breakfast time there. Have you had lunch?" All of a sudden, one day that person does not exist, and no more messages from that only sole person, because at any point in time I feel like talking with someone, I would just pick up the phone and call Amma, and then I would talk. But all of a sudden that person did not exist. That hit me way too hard. And then I remember being in tears left, right, and center in front of Sir, saying, "Sir, I don't know how to deal with it." And then Sir was giving examples of his own mom and trying to console me that way and things like that. And then
Well, I'm sending you a hug from here. So,
thank you.
yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, so it has been crazy, but I'm very glad that Sir came in as that, how should I put it, as an angel, and then he pulled me out. And then what Sir had to say was that, "I think it's your mom's blessings which is coming via me, so it is your mom and not me." That's how Sir put it. So
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
he is a person who's been touched by God. I always believe that.
yeah,
He's been directly sent.
correct,
He's
correct,
been directly sent. I've heard
correct.
beautiful
And
stories about
yeah, of course, slightly moving away from my sob story. Sorry, I touched on that. I made you
it.
emotional, probably. So
No,
I'm really sorry about that.
no,
And
it's okay.
and this
Thank
this
you for sharing it with me.
thank you, thank you. I mean, as you said, I mean, you mentioned about the energy, right? And then when you pick on the right energy, you obviously open up, and then you talk about stuff that's absolutely personal to you, and that's exactly what
Of
happened. That's all.
course,
Yeah.
of course.
Um, there's just one more thing that I definitely wanted to ask you about. I was very
Mhm.
pleasantly surprised and also happy that you are from Mount Carmel. And not that I studied there, but I have a sister who
Yeah.
obviously keeps bragging about, "Hey, I'm from Mount Carmel," and all that. And then
Oh,
every single time, so she is from Mount Carmel, and I remember
wow.
even when prior to me coming over to Australia, she always used to say, "There's nothing like Mount Carmel. I'm from Mount Carmel. Just remember." And she's a Gemini as well, so with an
Okay,
authority, she would
okay.
say, "I'm from Mount Carmel." So it brought a smile when I read that you're from Mount Carmel. So I just wanted to,
Yes.
yeah, any memories or anything, Bangalore memories, Mount Carmel memories, maybe I'll take this clip and send it to my sister. She will be happy, I'm sure.
Oh my God. I mean, so much, my most favorite memory of Mount Carmel, I have to come back to food, right? Is the 5 rupee donut that we used to get there.
Right.
We would stand in line, and trust me, I wonder if they still sell those donuts, because they were the
Mm.
yummiest donuts. No Krispy Kreme, no American donuts can, no Blue Star donuts can beat the 5 rupee donut that we used to get at Mount Carmel College, which is simply
Wow.
sugared, white, bad stuff, for you. But it was, Mount Carmel was my first actual experience of an extended stay in India, because
Right.
tops I would have stayed in India during every summer vacation of mine, which would be close to 2 months, and I
Mm.
go back to Bahrain. So I've never had to penetrate, what it would feel like to walk on the streets in India, or to not be under parent supervision, and going to understand what the Indian scene, like, how are Indian kids, how do they, so here we are in a place where I'm not going just to Kerala. Now I'm in Bangalore, I'm in MCC, where the students have come from all parts of India, right? So it's
Correct.
a
Correct.
it's a big challenge. So I'm meeting all these, and it's a girls college, right? So you're meeting girls who speak all languages, all kinds, all
Yeah.
heights, all shapes, all it was beautiful, such a diverse environment. But in that diversity, um, I found a gang of 7 girls who were all NRIs.
Okay.
That was my little gang, and two of them came from the US,
Right.
one from the UK, um, two from who went to like English schools in other parts of India.
Right.
So they were all, so I found my comfort there in creating my own little
Mm.
NRI community. And some of my fond memories lies, when during the time when we had gone to excursion
Right.
We took a bus and all of us went for a nice excursion from our college. It was my first longest bus yatra,
Right.
and in my bus at the time was another from the industry, Deepika Padukone.
Oh,
She was
wow.
there along with the two of her. Yeah, she was 1 year junior to me,
No way.
and yeah, yeah, it's very famous. Deepika also went to. You should tell your sister this. Deepika was also
Wow.
an MCC student. Yeah,
Right.
and we were all part of the same fashion team. And I remember when she did her Kingfisher calendar was when she started slacking coming to college. She started getting into the scene already. Uh, but we all traveled to Goa together, and that was my first time in a beach town in. So it's the first time I'm going into the wilderness, knowing what bunking a class is. I've never done these crazy things before, and I had, I always grew up being scared. I was always so orderly.
Right.
I never did anything which was non-conventional, and I did all of that in Bangalore with girls who were 10 times street smarter than I was. And I understood that, we kids who grow up in the Middle East are very, very naive. बहुत सीधा साधा है.
Wow.
And it was very different. Bangalore was I even remember telling my dad, here, the girls are junglies here. I couldn't take India. It was very difficult. It took me a lot of time to, um, you know, um, really get all those friction burns and
Right.
grew myself into the person that I became later.
Wow.
So
So
a
good.
lot of amazing memories. Used to most the one that really stands out most for me is I used to enjoy. My second year, I started enjoying cutting classes and going for cinema. I told my dad I want to get a bike, and I bought a bike, and we started riding and doing all sorts of nonsense. Yeah, it was good. It was
Amazing.
good.
Amazing. I'm sure this is going to
Yeah,
bring a huge smile on my sister's face when she watches it.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And so, what does your playlist look like these days? And any of ARR Sir's songs, of course.
Um, I like. I mean, obviously, my favorite songs of Sir's are all old, but now there are some of Sir's songs which are um, some of those amazing songs. They've become like remixes now. Obviously, I have the song Hamma Hamma on my playlist, on my workout playlist. That's for weight training because the pace of it is so perfect for doing reps, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, "हो गया हमको तुम, Hamma."
Love
So
it.
I'm not a fan of remixes, but
Yeah.
what does my playlist in general look like now? My music has predominantly now the time that I get to listen to music is always I'm always like reading scripts more now. So
Mm.
when I listen to music, it's when I'm working out. And
Right.
my workout playlist on Spotify has a lot of EDM tracks.
Oh, yeah.
So that's
Right.
specifically for for workout. And
Right.
when I go to sleep, there is always some sort of binaural beats and ambient
Yeah.
music. There are
Yeah.
times you stay in different hotel properties and you're traveling from place to place, so
Mm.
you're exposed to so many different hotel rooms, really disturbs your sleep rhythm. So then a familiar white noise or ambient, there's a playlist called Ambient Dreams on
Right.
Spotify. That really helps me go to sleep.
Okay.
So it's familiar music but different places, right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
Um, so
And do you also
yeah.
play music when you meditate and stuff, or is that more like a guided meditation, or there's just silence and
Uh, no, it's usually some form of white noise, or it's usually like
right?
they have those beta theta waves in binaural beats.
Yeah.
That helps you zone out because it's
Right.
one tune. It's almost like saying Om, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have the hum at the end. So a sound like that in the background is like an elongated,
Yeah.
right? So
True.
that helps you focus on your breath and your center.
True.
So yeah.
Right. And just last few bits coming towards the end
Hmm.
of the podcast. I'm also conscious of your
Yes.
time too. And so let's say of course, I really hope it does get made. Your biopic does get made in the future? And what are some of Sir's songs that would feature in it? Or you would like to see them feature, rather, put it that way. And Sir is
I missed the
also,
first part of your question. I couldn't hear.
if your biopic was made,
If my biopic was made,
yeah. And what are some of the songs from Sir's discography, obviously, that you'd like to see them featured on?
oh wow, my it should have all my quirks in it, right? Like I remember, it should have um. Should have that song. It should have the songs from Boys. It should have so
From
much. Oh my
Boys, wow,
God.
really?
Yeah, I love so many songs. Pukar. I mean, Sunta Hai Mera Khuda and also Kismat Se Tum Humse
True,
Mili.
true.
That could be the point where I actually found the love of my life, which I haven't yet. So, oh God, there are just too many songs, my dear. Like, how do I, Snehidane is like one of my most
Yeah,
favorite songs,
yeah.
and probably one of the most sung songs as well. I've performed that song the most on stage.
Right.
And um, I love the tracks of Delhi 6, as you might have already
Oh,
know.
yeah, of course. Yeah,
A lot of songs from Tal.
yeah, yeah.
Dekho chhod ke kis raste. So, like, it leaves, it's magic for me.
Of
My
course.
biopic will be full of magical melodies of A.R.Rahman sir. Now, it need not be my biopic. Now, I'll have to, in order to fit all those songs, I'll have to have those incidents in my life. That's how crazy I am. The movie will be too long.
No, it's I mean, it's absolutely inspirational though. I really
Yeah.
hope it actually does get made, and then I really don't want to tell you to write a book and things like that. I've read
Which
about it.
people have asked me a million
Yeah,
times. Yeah.
which I obviously don't want to go down that path, but rather go with the biopic path. And
Yeah. But I wonder if our time needs to end for someone to come up with our biopic, right?
and and then message for Sir via this podcast, and I will ensure I will share it to him so that he gets to see it.
Message for Sir. I'll get emotional. I mean, if there's, I think I don't know whether to call it my second life or my third life, but I've gotten this life back, and before this, I always tell my mom that I've not had one movie where Sir is, done the music for it, or like I've not had the chance to work with Sir. I think that's what it is, right? Like the vibration is so strong that I don't even know, even if he offers me an opportunity to record for him, if I feel like I'm nothing, to sing for him. But I do have one of my biggest dreams in this lifetime is to sing a song for Sir, work with him in some way, even if it's to come just sing one line for him. I will take it as the biggest, like I'll feel like I've been blessed by God, and I guess that's it.
I really hope it comes
I
true.
did tell Sir that I would love to, because I did, like, in fact, what happened was I recorded it. I was singing during an interview, and it was the song Kunjum Mainakale.
Yeah,
This was
I
while
can't remember.
promoting a film,
Yeah,
and in Dubai, and they had replayed the song and they put it back up, as a post on Instagram tagging me and Sir,
right.
and to which Sir had written, to me that, I hope you can sing for me one day.
Wow.
And I took that message and I was like, oh my God, AR Sir wrote to me. I couldn't believe it. I was like, Sir is. And then literally 10 days after was when I met him, at Rahman's daughter's wedding. And,
Yeah.
and I was like, Sir, I said, Sir, I am Mamta Mohandas, and I was like, then he didn't look like he remembered.
Yeah.
I said, oh, Sir, maybe it's not you who responded on Instagram. He was like, oh, it's you. I said, yes, sir, it's me, So yeah, it was, I mean, that itself was so magical for me.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it would be like to sing for Sir. And in fact, I even told my friends in LA, who meet Sir very often, when he comes down to LA, that if I could at least sing chorus for him, I'll be happy.
I'm sure he'll have a song for you. At
I
least
mean, at some point, right? It's yeah.
after he watches this clip, I'm pretty sure he's gonna give you a buzz at some point.
Yeah, I think
And
sometimes, we get our lives back, and then there are those last things that you want to do before another departure.
yeah,
And there are some associations that you want, and you want to be in some people's hearts, right?
yeah,
I have that. Like because I've really streamed down, filtered the number of friends I have. I know whom I will take till the
I
end.
can imagine.
Now, I just crossed 35, and I know now this is not the next leg of my life,
Hmm.
and this will be lived in a certain way. I can't say I have a plan. They say you have to be organic with things, but you still somewhere, the purity with which you want to live the rest of your life and
Yeah,
make the best of it, right?
agree.
So, working with Sir would be one such moment that I take to my deathbed. I always think about it like that.
Yeah, I really hope it does come true. And then
Inshallah.
before I let you
Inshallah.
go, yeah, I'm pretty sure, I'm 100% sure it's going to come true. And then the fans are going to kill me if I didn't request you to sing a couple of lines of any song that you like. So I really hope I'm not stretching the boundaries of our friendship by asking you to sing.
Not at all, but his data, the AR data is so huge that, do you have a song that you would
The
like me to sing? Which
uh,
language? Pick a
the
language. Do you want
the
Hindi?
song
Do
that
you
you
want
like the most, Snehidane. Let's go with that.
சின்ன சின்னையாட்டுமிரன் புரிவாய் என் எல்லாம் புகழ் பூக்கு செய்வாய் மலர்கள் மலர்வாய் பதிக்கும் பக்கம் போல மெதுவாய் நான் தூங்கும் போது விரல் நகம் தலைவாய் சத்தமிற்று துயர்வாய் விரல் ஒளிவெண்ணை பூசி செய்ய வேண்டும் நீ எழும்போது நாளைய நீதான் துடிக்கின்ற விரல் வேண்டும் ஸ்நேகிதனே ஸ்நேகிதனே ரகசிய செய்தனே சின்ன சின்னதாய் கோரிக்கைகள் செவி கொடு செய்தனே.
Beautiful, beautiful. Wow, it's not an easy song at all. My goodness. Sorry I put you on the spot, but
No,
amazing. I
not
loved
at
it.
all. Not at all. I
Amazing.
love it. Love it. Thank you.
And look, I obviously go with my gut feel when I invite someone on the podcast, and you're guest number 125 in this journey. So
Okay.
I'm so excited to be releasing this podcast so very soon, because
Thank you so
it
much
has
for
inspired me so much, and I really want this to be inspirational for so many others who follow this journey. So
the
thank you
same time.
so much,
Thank you
Mamta.
for sharing your stories also, because I feel it's important for us also. See, I never look at any interaction as an interview. I feel it's a sharing. It's not about you interviewing me, or this is not this. I think the people that we have involved here, that's you, me, and Sir. We all have there's some reason why we're all talking today.
Correct.
Right, and it's could be an elevated form of connection, could be something spiritual. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for having me be a part of your making me a part of this tribute journey of yours to AR Sir.
Thank you
I'm
so much,
really
and
privileged and honored to be a part of it.
really
Thank you.
appreciate it. And as a
Thank
little
you.
thank you, I'll be sending over some chocolates and a T-shirt, an exclusive ARR T-shirt to you. The T-shirt
Ah,
that entire team of ARR Sir's team has, and including Sir himself has it as one of those T-shirts.
wow.
He doesn't wear that. He'll be like, Why would I wear ARR T-shirt, Chandar? Tell me." So,
You know, I've heard that like with his like closest friends, he's like really chill, and that's a side of him. I'll have to definitely see before I record for him.
yeah, of course. And
Why do I have to wear that shirt?
yeah, he,
Actually, I want to tell. I do want to. I'll share one more thing as a closing.
sure.
Between one of my chemo sessions, I had met Sir, and that was the first time I saw Sir.
Right.
Him and such cricketer Sachin Tendulkar, the Sachin Tendulkar, was
Wow.
together at a dinner,
Right.
and it was a private dinner during the IPL, if I'm not wrong. And
Mm.
I was in Chennai between my chemo at the time, and the Chennai Super Kings, I think the brand owner, they were the ones who took me to have a picture with Sir. That was the first time I saw him in person.
Wow.
Um, I still remember I have that picture with me.
Thank you so much for your time,
Thank
and
you.
thanks for
Bye,
your
Chandran.
energy, and thanks for inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you for the love. Okay.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.